Friends, in our running topic, we are in the respiration. In the last class, we have discussed about the exchange of gases in plants, and obviously today, what's our topic? Today's topic is exchange of gases in animals. We have seen in the different plant, in the different groups of plant, how the exchange of gases occurs. Now today we will discuss in the various types of animals how the exchange of gases occur. Since childhood you are familiar with this fact that all the living organism can respire, and for the process of respiration there is a exchange of gases necessary between the organisms and the environment. This exchange of gases, how took place in the plant, we have already discussed and seen, and now how it will take place in animal, today we will discuss. So here, for your convenience, I have written a short description about the topic. In animals, a specific organs are present for gaseous exchange, that is intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide. In case of plants, we have clearly specified that there is no any specific organ present for the exchange of gases. But here we have started with this sentence that in animals a specific organs are present for gaseous exchange. That is, for the exchange of gases there are some specific organs are present. Those organs may be not similar in all the animals, they may be different in the different groups of animals depending upon the body design, their level of structural organization level, many more things, availability of the oxygen, where from they will take oxygen from the atmosphere or from the dissolved when they are aquatic animals. That is dependent, we will discuss those things later on. Now again see here that is in take of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide is the exchange of gases, which are known as breathing organs or respiratory organs in lower organism. In lower organism, gaseous exchange takes place mainly by their entire body surface through general body surface, whereas in most higher organism, a specialized respiratory organs are present for gaseous exchange. This is the fact about the gaseous exchange. That means in the lower, like the unicellular organism, amoeba, paramecium, and in lower multicellular organism also, like the hydra, planaria, etc., like the you have also aware with the phylum Porifera. In all those category of the animal also there is a no any specific breathing organs or respiratory organ, there is a general body surface through which exchange of gases occurs. And in case of the higher organism, multicellular higher organism, there are special respiratory organs are present. We will discuss briefly about all those respiratory organs one by one. But before that, there is one more thing I would like to share with you, and that is the two phases of respiration. Here these two phases of respiration means external respiration and internal respiration. What are these two phases of respiration? When we are going to talk about the external respiration, that means we are going to talk about the gaseous exchange between the between the respiratory surface or the breathing organs and their environment like atmosphere, air or the water. And in the second phase, which is the internal respiration, in the first phase, that is the simple process of breathing, and it is a physical process. There is no energy release. And in case of the internal respiration, this is the respiration, the step of respiration, which involves several steps like uptaking of oxygen by cells, number 1. Number 2, oxidative breaking down of the glucose molecules within the cell by the presence or in the presence of oxygen or by the oxygen, and in which there is a release of energy takes place. So these are the some fact about the two phases of respiration. The first phase is external respiration and the second phase is the internal respiration. Now, if you want to write notes on these two facts, then so what we have seen that there are two phases of respiration in most of the organism. What are those two phases? The first phase is the external respiration and the second phase is the internal respiration. What will happen in case of the external respiration? In this phase, it is the phase which may you tell the gaseous exchange phase, during which there is a exchange of gases takes place by diffusion, and it occurs through the general body surfaces or respiratory surfaces. Here the important two things: general body surfaces or respiratory surfaces. General body surfaces in case of unicellular organism are in the lower category of the organism where there is no any specific respiratory or breathing organ is present. In that case, the exchange of gases takes place through the general body surfaces. And in case of those multicellular organism or higher category of the organism where there are a specific structure for breathing or respiration is present, that is the respiratory surfaces. It is a pure physical process and does not produce energy. The second one is the internal respiration. In this case, there are, what are those steps which you have seen in case of the process of the cellular respiration? All are here. Like it involves the following steps: uptake of oxygen, the first step, and the second one is the oxidation of food by various enzymes in the cell in the presence of oxygen. Already it has been written that uptaking of oxygen and release of energy. You will know during this process energy has released, and the release of waste products like the carbon dioxide in the process and its elimination from cells. This is a biochemical process and this is a physical process. So these two things are the phases of the respiration. Now we will discuss about the different respiratory organs or breathing organs or respiratory surfaces in unicellular and multicellular organisms. But before that, when you will study the respiratory surfaces, or especially when you will study about the different specific organs for the exchange of gases in the different categories of the animals or the organisms, then there are some common characteristic features in all those respiratory organs, other respiratory surfaces are present. That's why I have written here common characteristics of respiratory surface. What are those common characteristic features for those respiratory surfaces? Like number one, the respiratory surface has a large surface area to get more oxygen. Number one point, the respiratory surface has a large surface area to get more. It is very important part of the topic. It is extremely thin and moist. The second characters. The third one, it is highly vascular. Vascular means it is richly supplied by blood vessels. It is highly vascular, that is, it is richly supplied with blood capillaries. And in order to protect this surface, it is usually present or placed within the body. And number 5 here, respiratory surface is permeable to respiratory gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. May you add one more point here. It is especially you will see in case of the human respiratory surface, like there is a provision for carrying oxygen efficiently to the respiratory surfaces and for carrying carbon dioxide to there is a provision for carrying oxygen efficiently to the respiratory surfaces and for carrying carbon dioxide to the respiratory surfaces from the cell, from the different parts of the cell. That means there is a provision to carry the oxygen from the respiratory surfaces to the different cells, and there is a provision also to carry the carbon dioxide from the different parts of the cell to again the respiratory surfaces. And how it is possible? Due to the presence of respiratory pigments, like hemoglobin. So this is some fact about the common characteristics of respiratory surfaces, which you have seen here. There are moist, thin respiratory surface area, there is a large surface area, and there is a richly supplied by the blood capillaries, and those respiratory surfaces mainly placed within the body. And lastly, I have here written this point, that there is a provision, and that provision means there is a special arrangement to carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide, that is the presence of hemoglobin. It is also known as the respiratory pigment. So, it is the discussion before the main discussion about the different types of respiratory organs. Now, our next part of the topic is the different types of respiratory organs within the different types of organism. If we will study about the respiratory organs, how the exchange of gases takes place through those organs, then first we may categorize the organism like the unicellular, and also lower multicellular. Unicellular and also lower multicellular. Okay? And in the second category of the organism for which our discussion is required, that is the higher multicellular organisms. Why I have categorized it into the two? As because there is in case of this one, the first one, that is the unicellular and also lower multicellular organisms, the body surface, through the body surface, by the process of diffusion through the body surfaces of the organism, mainly the exchange of gases takes place. That is why it is the one category. In this type of respiration, the process of respiration is known as direct respiration. This is known as direct respiration. That means here there is any specific organ, breathing organ is present, and from the entire body surfaces, like in case of the amoeba, like in case of paramecium. May you put here examples also, like case of amoeba, paramecium, porphyrians, like cyclone, some hydra, planaria also, planaria. So these are the some examples in this category. And in the case of higher multicellular organism, what we see here, we see there are specific organs, there are specific breathing organs or respiratory organs, specific respiratory surfaces through which the gas exchange of gases takes place. In this category, we well know that may you give the example of like the insects, fishes, amphibians, reptilians, and mammalians, etc. And also in this category also annelids are also came under this category. Annelids. Here is also there is a specific organ means skin, from the entire skin in the case of annelids like the earthworm, leech, etc. These are the two examples. Here may you see the examples like the cockroach, grasshopper and many more insect, largest arthropoda groups. So here why we have to categorize depending upon their specific respiratory surfaces, breathing organs, and not the specific breathing organs. And that is why here in case of unicellular there is and in some lower category of the multicellular, from the entire body surfaces there is a exchange of gases takes place. This type of respiration is the direct, and where there are specific organs present for the exchange of gases, this type of respiration is known as the indirect respiration. Indirect respiration. Now it is essential to know that what are the content of the syllabus in this regard. In this regard, content of the syllabus is that we should know in a very brief manner the different types of breathing organs, or to know about the different types of the respiratory surfaces with their examples. Here, like the body surface, in case of this there are different types of respiratory organs or breathing organs, like in case of the annelids, where the examples I have put here, earthworm, leech. The skin is the respiratory or the breathing organs. The skin is moist, thin and highly vascular. The annelids also show the skin type. Through the skin there is a breathing or the exchange of gases, and in this category of the organism, this type of respiration is known as cutaneous respiration. In case of insect, there is also a specific organ, that is the trachea, and trachea may open exteriorly outside with an aperture that is known as spiracles. So that is another example. Here the respiration is by the trachea, and that is the tracheal respiration. In case of the fish and the other aquatic animals, where there is a water is the dissolved oxygen, in water is the source of oxygen, and in this category of the organism, when there is a presence of gills, there is a presence of gills for the exchange of gases or the breathing organs, and those organisms which can respire by gills is known as branchial respiration. In case of amphibians like the toad or frog, also in this category there is some differences, like in case of the amphibians, frog can respire through the skin also, frog can respire through the lungs also, which are the examples for the reptilians. And also I have missed here one more, birds or apes, birds, mammals and amphibians. Amphibians may respire through the lungs also, like in case of the adult frog, they can respire through the lungs, but when they are in hibernation period, they can respire through the skin. And when the tadpole larva, that respire through the gills. So this is some special category in case of the amphibian. In most of the reptilian, apes, that is the birds and the mammalians, lungs are the main respiratory organ, and the respiration by lungs is known as pulmonary respiration. The respiration by skin is the cutaneous, respiration by the trachea is the tracheal respiration, respiration by the gills, the branchial respiration, and the respiration by the lungs. In case of the reptilian, in case of the apes, and in case of the mammalian, when we will study one by one, then we see that this is known as the pulmonary respiration. So this is some fact about the different types of respiratory or breathing organs, or may you call that what are the areas, what are the structure, what are the organs which related with the exchange of gases and which promote the exchange of gases. That is the respiratory or breathing organs, are the surfaces. Respiratory surfaces is the whole in the entire part of the respiratory organs, as well as the some other extensive part of the respiratory organs, like in case of the mammal, in case of our cells. When you take example for all of us, then you see that there are presence of the lungs and also that extended to the alveoli, and that is the main surface area. The main organ is the lungs. So here some brief descriptions. Now one by one we shall now discuss about all these organs. Now our first part in the context of exchange of gases is the exchange of gases through or gaseous exchange through general body surface. Here you may see this diagram of the amoeba. You are familiar. The amoeba is a unicellular organism and it can perform all the different vital life processes with the help of this unicellular structure. There is a exchange of gases, there is a process of ingestion, there is a process of egestion, there is a process of excretion, even there is a process of movement. All are possible with the help of this single cellular structure. So this is the structure of amoeba. And the other example in the categorization we have seen. What are the other examples? Like the paramecium, you also put the example in this category, like the paramecium, and the second example after amoeba, and I have also given you an idea that porphyrian, like cycone, porphyrian, that also with the help of there is a ostia, presence of the holes in the entire body surfaces, and there is a water canal system present. You well know, you have already studied this word in class 9 in the topic of biodiversity. And the other saline traits, like the hydra, and planaria. These are the simple multicellular organism where there is no any specific respiratory or breathing organs present, and they can respire through their entire body surface, and this type of respiration is known as body surface respiration. After this we have the other sections of this part. Those are like the respiration by the through the skin, and that is known as the cutaneous, and the respiration gas exchange through the gills, and that is the branchial, gas exchange through the trachea, that is the tracheal, and the gas exchange through the lungs, and that is the pulmonary. We will discuss this all one by one into our next classes.